Alrighty, this is Hunter Interviews with Derek. We are here with the lovely and talented Erica O'Grady. How are you doing?
Hi Derek, thanks for having me.
No
I'm doing
problem.
Great.
So, how are you enjoying your South by Southwest?
It's been phenomenal, actually totally fantastic.
You seen anything that's really kind of wowed you around here?
Yeah, I haven't been to enough of South by Southwest to say I've saw something that wowed me, but I did just get to take part in the Zappos box break. This is where Zappos asked a bunch of us, they gave us money and had us buy some stuff on Zappos.com, which if you know anything about Zappos, you know that they really care about their customers.
Right.
And I think that this is one of the most innovative and smart and strategic social media campaigns I've ever seen. But they had me and Kevin Rose and Chris Brogan and Guy Kawasaki and Tara Hunt and Deb Schultz and Aaron Kovecki-Vest and trying to not to forget
anyone. There was like 16 of them.
Yeah, there's 16 total, and really great people. They had us all order some stuff on Zappos.com, and then they had it all delivered here to South by Southwest, and we get to open it live on camera.
Oh,
and so I got these nifty red Keds, and I also got a really cool pink Franco Star tickets with that to go with my pink hat. So can't beat that.
That's awesome.
And it was such an amazing experience because they asked us to talk about happiness. And I'm actually starting a movement on bliss, and so for me to talk about happiness is kind of core to who I am, and I love the idea of being able to talk about happiness, and that a company is willing to do that was fantastic.
That's awesome. So what are you up to nowadays? What are you working on? You got any special projects you got?
Sure, so it's really interesting. I spent a lot of time doing social media consulting for politicians. I got the first Congressman, John Culberson, on Twitter.
Yeah, we all know about that.
And he actually did the first tweet from within the Oval Office, which was really cool. And then I ended up working with the mayor of Sugar Land. So I worked with a lot of politicians, and what I found out is that some of them are actually ethical, and that's like a really awesome thing to know that some of our politicians really do mean what they say, and they deliver on their promises. Sometimes, even when it hurts them negatively in the press, they stand by their word. That was really exciting to me. Some of them aren't so ethical, and I'll be real honest and frank, and I've worked with some of those too.
Right.
And you know, I also work with a lot of startup companies. I'm working with a company that's here South by Southwest called Blello. They're like a microblog for productivity. They're very cool.
I'm actually a beta tester, so.
Oh, fantastic! How do you like it?
I love it.
I love
Absolutely,
it too. That's how I've been feeling about it.
Yeah.
They delight their users.
The first thing I said was 300 characters. What am I going to do with all that?
I know, it's so much. And so then the next thing is, you know, it's really funny because I call myself a social media consultant now, but there was a time about a year ago when I woke up and I had spent about a year and a half branding myself in Houston as a social media girl. And no one else was doing social media at that time. Then I woke up one day and overnight, everybody in town was a social media guru or a social media coach or a blogging coach or horror of all horrors. Now, in fact, there are Twitter coaches, which just really rocks me to my core. Like, how do you coach Twitter? I just think that's insane.
So you say, you know, instead of FOR, you put an actual 4 in there.
Yeah, exactly. And so the next thing that happened was I decided that because everyone was a social media consultant, I was going to be a new media, I was going to rebrand, give myself a new name, and I was going to be a new media and loyalty marketing specialist. So I did. I rebranded. I said on everything, Erica O'Grady, new media and loyalty marketing specialist, because I thought that was like really clever and cool.
Right.
But I'd go to parties and I'd introduce myself as a new media and loyalty marketing specialist, and people would kind of look at me like, I'm not really sure what you do, and I didn't get any money, and I needed to make money. But then I also figured out that if you put the word social media or the word green on anything, you could sell it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I went back to being a social media consultant, because that's really what I am. But I really am a social media consultant. Like, I've been there for like, I was using Twitter like back when it had no vowels, you know. So like I walk the walk and talk the talk, and I think that that's important.
That's
and so
awesome.
that was one side of that. And you know, I'm now as we're leading into this, and there's more and more people out there who are figuring out that they can start get rich quick schemes by pretending to be social media experts. I'm really disheartened, and I think that this is a massive problem, and I think that we have to do something about it as social media professionals, especially people who are really good at what they do. We've got to all band together, and we've got to figure out a way to help innocent people from getting cheated. Because I see people now that are scamming Twitter, getting 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100,000 followers, and someone new to Twitter comes on and says, wow, they must be really influential. No, they're not influential at all. No one knows who they are. They've just scammed the system, and then they can turn to those innocent people and say, well, we have this course you can take on Twitter. It's only $744, and we'll teach you everything you need to know to be successful on Twitter. that's just crazy, and it's the innocent people there that I feel bad for, and it's also the people who are my friends and my colleagues who've spent real time, hard time, doing real work and real good in the community to build their followers so that they have a certain level of influence, and now they're being devalued.
Right. I think it degrades the whole industry as well.
It's dilution.
Yeah.
It's complete dilution. And I think either Twitter needs to step up and find a way to do this, and Andrew Hyde proposed a really good solution. He said on your Twitter UI, you know how you have your numbers, you have your, like, you know, you have your how many people you're following,
and then
how many people are following you. He said they should have one more over here that should say, and then your updates, right? And it should have one more that says has followed. So like you followed, unfollowed, it'll say has followed 200,000 people. Only has 20,000 people following him, but he has followed over time 200,000 people. And we say, oh, he's a spammer.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Exactly. They just stand out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, we can know right away. Oh, he's a spammer, and they just no credit whatsoever. And people, there's this little mark next to it when you go over a certain like ratio that puts a little red dot next to your like avatar photo that's
right.
like spammer.
This person spams.
Yeah.
Avoid.
But I think Andrew Hyde was really brilliant to propose that.
Well, he is pretty brilliant.
So that was one of the things. So I don't know.
Well, the last question I want to ask you is more about, you know, Erica, the person. You know, obviously you do this for a living.
Yeah.
But what I really want to understand is how you're utilizing it in your life, you know, with your friends, your family, and then how you're also trying to do it to utilize it for building your business.
Sure. So in my personal life, and this is why I'm so angry about the spammers on Twitter, is that Twitter's my family. Those are my people. Like, if I follow you on Twitter, chances are that we've either met in real life or I've probably slept at your house. And that's a lot of people. So I'm sleeping at a lot of people's houses, like I'm going to tell you. But I travel a lot, so this is okay. And the LA Tech Crowd, which is a really fantastic panel on how LA has built community, is a really good example of this. I live in Houston, but they're the kind of community that I'll meet someone, I'll know them 5 minutes, like, oh, you're on Twitter, if you ever come to LA, stay at my beach house. And I so am like, I'm coming to LA, and they're like, come stay at my beach house, and I so show up and stay at the beach house. And so that's the kind of stuff that Twitter made possible, because before it used to be like a secret handshake. But now that there's all these different people, and I'm glad it's going mainstream and growing. I'm really a fan of that. But I'm still, you know, concerned that it's gonna change the way I interact with it, because now I have to say.
Now you have to be guarded.
I have to be guarded. I have to say, do I really want to follow you back, or are you some crazy person? Like you're like guilty until proven innocent.
Right. Which
is unfortunate. So that's one way. Twitter for me, if I'm going to a city, I say I'm coming, and I get 4 or 5 direct messages. People say, can we take you to dinner? What are you doing tonight? And it just feels really great to know that there's an instant community everywhere I go. And every community has a different feel, and they're all my friends, and I love them so much.
That's awesome.
So that's one way. In my business, I get almost all my clients via Twitter or via some social networking app, including like Facebook and things like that. I'll say something, and someone will say, hey, I get a ton of like Facebook emails from people, like in-mail, I don't know what you call it.
Right.
What is it, Facebook
the mail within Facebook.
I think LinkedIn has in-mail.
Yeah.
But I get a ton of like Facebook mail that for people who just became Facebook friends saying, hey, I'd really like to hire you to do such and such, and are you available? And that's really exciting to me that people can interact in these new and different ways. And so
that's awesome.
Social media has made my world flipped on it. I used to be a technologist, and a web designer, and a developer, and I hardly ever code anymore. And so I just love it.
That's awesome. Well, we're so glad we had you here with 100 Interviews. We hope you enjoy the rest of your South by, and so thank you so much, Erica.
Thanks, Derek.
Bye.